Capcom 2.
This year marks the 20th anniversary of the initial release of Marvel vs. Capcom on arcade and Dreamcast. Probably the most iconic, crossover fighting game ever made. Apart from Smash Bros, that is. Either way, what can be said about Marvel vs. Capcom 2 that hasn't been said already? Oops. Sorry, knocking my microphone over. But yeah, to be honest, you guys are probably waiting for the "It's Marvel, baby" line, but that'd be cool and all. However, when you look at, what people in the FGC, those who aren't familiar, fighting game community, yeah. But anyway, you look at people in the FGC and they're just like, this game's busted, this game's broken as hell, unbalanced. Personal favorite comes from Maximilian Dude. He goes, okay, this is going to be paraphrased, but he says, the whole Versus series is just full of unga bunga horse shit. But to be honest, that actually sums it up. And I know that might not sound positive, but for real, all this negative commentary, the broken, busted unga-bunganess, that, in all honesty, is probably what's made this game last as long as it has. Now, I guess I should get started on my own personal history with this game. And if I'm brutally honest with you guys, came out in 2000. I was 10 years old. Here in Australia, we still had Marvel vs. Capcom 1 in the arcades. We didn't have Marvel vs. Capcom 2. And the ones that were updated mostly were Tekken. We had a lot more Tekken machines here than we had any Street Fighter machines. Every time I'd go to a Time Zone, Galaxy World, Intensity, any of those places, you'd always see Tekken, never really Street Fighter. And the thing is, Tekken was always crowded too, so it was crazy. But when I was 10 years old, my main love affair in terms of fighting games was actually Marvel vs. Capcom 1. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I still prefer it to Marvel vs. Capcom 2. The roster's much smaller. There's just less options when it comes to choosing your characters, and it just feels a bit more whole. I don't know. That's just me though. Other people might be different. Why else would Evo bring MvC2 back instead of MvC1? But yeah. Anyway, so my own history, apart from the fact that I didn't know about it on this release, was I had no idea about it for 6 years. So 2006, sitting at school, playing this is how much I liked Marvel vs. Capcom 1. I had the PS1 port digitized and put onto my PSP, and I was playing it at school on a free period. A friend of mine thought I was playing MvC2 because he had MvC2. He's like, "Oh, do you have BB Hood?" I'm like, "Who the heck is BB Hood?" Then another one of my friends got it on Xbox, played it over there. I found out it was on PS2. I got it on PS2. Apparently everyone says that version runs like ass. In my opinion, it does not. There are a few things that I'll get into that it is worse than the other versions, but overall it runs good. But more on that later. Anyway, so yeah, I just found it. I found it secondhand, no case, no cover, no manual, disc only. The disc was pretty scratched when I got it, so as soon as I found out that PCSX2 was a thing, I kind of digitized it straight away so that it wouldn't get any more damaged. So it's in storage right now. It's in a little case with a furry back to try and keep it safe. But with a bunch of PS1 and other sort of games. I couldn't get it in time for this video, but anyway. Yeah, so I guess what we're going to take a look at today is the PS2 version of Marvel vs. Capcom 2 because that's the version that I played the most. That's the version where I unlocked everybody. I also unlocked everyone on the iOS version, but I kind of don't have an iPhone anymore. I switched to Android, and never looked back. Yeah, I think I have my iPhone 4 somewhere, and it's still installed on there because I know I never installed it, and I never got rid of that phone either. But either way, we're gonna take a look at the PS2 version, because that's the version that I grew up with. Now, let's answer that first question, right? Does it actually play like ass, right? Because when it comes to fighting games, everyone's all about low latency and everything like that. I'm gonna say no. It doesn't actually play like ass, like everyone says. Everyone in the fighting game community who's like big on Marvel rips hard on the PlayStation 2 version. And to be honest, yeah, it's like when I played it, apart from a little bit of latency, there's virtually no difference. I recently got to play the Dreamcast version of this game, which is it's a whole other level. So the only time that I realized that there was anything wrong with the PS2 version was after playing the Dreamcast version. Let me tell you, because what happened was a friend of mine invited me over. This was before quarantine. Played the Dreamcast version, played it all day. Came back home, launched my version, PS2 version, and then I noticed I couldn't get my combos. A lot of things were not coming out wrong and not coming out right, and I was losing a lot. I'm gonna say a lot more than normal because I'm not the best at this game. I'm nowhere near the best. But you know, so turns out PS2 has about half a second of lag in its inputs when compared to the Dreamcast version, and I don't really remember the Xbox version because I haven't played it since I was in high school. Yeah, that's the last time I played the Xbox version, and yeah, so played the Dreamcast version, super responsive, super crisp, beautiful. Went back to PS2 version, slight input lag. But I'm gonna be honest with you guys, like if you guys if you haven't played Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and you're wondering what's the hubbub, why is everyone so psyched that it's announced for Evo, if it's still announced for Evo with the online. Alright, sorry about that. Had to insert a jump cut here because I just started rambling. But let's get back to the differences between the Dreamcast and PS2 version. That input delay, if you want to experience anything similar right now in a real-world example, in things that are purchasable, then what I would recommend is owning, okay, so if you already own these games, it's going to be really easy. You can just boot it up and whatnot, but let's go. So what you'll need is Street Fighter 3rd Strike Online Edition for the last gen consoles, so PS3 or Xbox 360, whatever one was on. I've got it on PS3. And then you're going to need the Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection, and compare their offline modes. So go into 3rd Strike, if you play just the arcade mode in the 30th Anniversary Collection, and then you go back to the Online Edition, and you play just the offline arcade mode on that version, there is also that half a second delay. Yeah, the Online Edition works amazingly for online matches because that's what it was built for. But yeah, for that offline experience, you'll actually get that same half a second delay. I challenge you to go check it out, or at least it does for me. When I had the 30th anniversary on PS4, I had it on PS4, but I sold it, and because I got the Switch version. I know. Anyway, They ran the same, alright? Don't look at me like that. But that is essentially like a real world comparison of you know, how it feels. So if you can go onto Third Strike Online Edition after, like, and do some offline matches and have no issue after you've been doing arcade mode in Third Strike on the 30th Anniversary Collection, then you can jump into Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on the PS2 no problem whatsoever. It's just a small adjustment, and that's it. Yeah. So, now that's established, we know it doesn't run like us. Beautiful, right? Cool. Gonna cut here and go to the next segment. Okay, so moving on to the next segment. That being, do I like the game? I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Like I said before, I like Marvel vs. Capcom 1 way better than this. To me, Marvel vs. Capcom 1 is like the Third Strike of versus games. I know this is the Third Strike of versus games for a lot of them, but I don't know. I feel like because it started off, technically it started off with X-Men Children of the Atom, but first game in the Versus series was X-Men vs. Street Fighter, right? And so you had the three that were before Marvel vs. Capcom 2. X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, and Marvel vs. Capcom. Each one getting a bit more unga bunga as it went on, which was pretty awesome. And I think the main thing that I liked about all of those games was the button layout. So it had the regular Street Fighter button layout. So for those who aren't big or struggle to understand how fighting games work, Street Fighter in particular has what we call a 6-button layout. So you have your 3 punches, a weak, a medium, and a heavy damage one, and 3 kicks. So a weak, a medium, a heavy damage kick. The purpose of that is the weak ones are faster but do less damage. The medium ones are the middle ground, and the heavy ones do way more damage but are much slower, obviously. And then when it comes to the special attacks come out stronger and faster, but leave you open after you do them, so that it takes longer to recover. Which, like, so if somebody blocks, it's what we call a punish. So, you know, if somebody blocks, they, you know, it's easy to retaliate. That's what I'm trying to say. So this 6-button layout exists in the 3 games prior. So you had your grab was just a heavy punch. Then you had your combinations, and you had an assist. So in the first 2 games, you could assist with the 2 medium buttons. That was your assist button. In the first 2 games, you had unlimited assist because your assist was just based on your partner character. In Marvel vs. Capcom 1, you had a limited number of assists, but it was RNG based. So you had like a thing of assist characters come up, and you couldn't choose which assist you could get. So every assist would be just a random assist character that had come up. And that assist, be it good or bad, had a limited number of uses, which actually added another layer of strategy. And also just the 2v2 was a lot less complicated. Like, you didn't have, so when you compare 1 and 2, in 2 you got your unlimited assists and 3 characters. So you choose your 3 characters, you choose your assists that you want them to do, and that choice, you have to make 6 choices all in that. And sometimes, because you've got so much choices, you're torn between who you want to play as because you're a fan, and who you know is good to beat the other person with. You know, so I guess that's that's my major gripe with MvC2, is that you don't just choose based on who you like playing as. You have to choose based on who's got good assists as well. And that level of strategy never melded with me in the same way that Marvel vs. Capcom 1 did. The other change that I don't like is this 6-button layout that I just mentioned before got changed to a 4-button layout, or they actually changed what the 6 buttons do, because you had combinations of those 6 buttons to tag out, but then they took out the middleman, so they took out the medium attacks. So you just had light punch, light kick, heavy kick, and then your other 2 buttons were your partner buttons. So they were your assist buttons. So you have that. But then they maintained the combinations for changing, for tagging out, which is something that I never understood. It's like, if you're gonna have a partner button, why not just have a, tag out button? Which is something that they fixed in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. If you play MvC3 now, you can just hold down that assist button and you tag out. It's beautiful. Love it. Still not as good as Marvel 1 though. Yeah, how you like them apples? Yeah, so it's just these small things that are the reason why I personally kind of dislike this game. Yeah. Alright. So you must be thinking, this guy doesn't like it. Why the hell is he even talking about it? It's not true. I don't like it compared to other entries in the series, but I still like it. Just to address that. So don't get anything twisted. But the reason I'd talk about it is because it's important. A lot of times we don't realize this, but this game, like Maximilian Dude said the other day, like I was in the middle. I'd just written this line down on my script when, like, not even a day later, Maximilian Dude does his hype check. And he says the same thing that I'd already written down on my script, and that's 20 years ago, this was our Smash Brothers Ultimate. This was our everyone was here, or everyone is here. Because although this is the 4th game in a series of versus games, right? In those versus games, there were people in this game that had never been in there before, right? So first of all, Ruby Heart and Amingo are brand new characters. They've only been in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Then you got Thanos, who'd only been in the Marvel Superheroes fighting game. Then you have, and Psylocke, Silver Samurai, what's his name? Russian dude who's made of metal. Forgetting his name now. Magic's brother. Oh my god. It's funny how I'm remembering, drawing a blank right now. I know his sister's Magic. Anyway. Yeah, a lot of these people hadn't shown up in any of these versus titles, right? So you had the whole cast of you had the whole cast of X-Men Children of the Atom, the whole cast of, or I guess minus Apocalypse, but he was a boss character. Anyway, yeah. Then every character from the Marvel Superheroes fighting game, including Thanos. Then you had every character from X-Men Cross Street Fighter, every character from Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, every character from Marvel vs. Capcom 1. This was the everyone is here moment, and in the same way as Smash Brothers Ultimate, we had to go and we had to unlock every character ourselves. You had to put in the hard work. You didn't just, you had your base roster, which was fine and dandy. It was about as big as the roster of all the games that came before it, just the base roster, which was like nuts. And then like you start unlocking somebody, and I remember like first you just see one row of like question marks all the way around your roster, and then you start unlocking people and you start seeing a second row of question marks, and I was like, what? Like this game took a long time to finish for me. Well, for me personally, because I still honestly haven't gotten a handle of the controls too well when compared, like, just because I go back and I play all the other games so much more. When I go back to this one, yeah, I just, it throws me off every time, even now, 20 years later. Damn game. But yeah, so that's what makes it important. The fact that it was our Smash Ultimate, for us who grew up in the 90s with the 90s X-Men, because yes, like, if you see all the X-Men and all the characters in their outfits that are there, like Iron Man with his suit that has muscles on it, and War Machine as well with a supposedly robot suit that has muscles on it, Cyclops with his yellow and blue outfit with his hair showing out the top, yeah, Storm in her all white outfit with the hair gone. Like, at the end of the day, that was all fan service for all of us who grew up like in the 80s and 90s. More so who, like, I want to say who read the comics, but also if you didn't read the comics, you watched the shows. Like, there was a clear distinction in the characters, because I never read the comics as a kid, but I did watch the X-Men TV show, I watched the Spider-Man TV show, I watched Iron Man, I watched Fantastic Four, I watched Silver Surfer. I watched a lot of these shows. So like, it resonated with me, with my childhood self. Yeah. So important. This game was important. Alright, let's check out the next section. Alright, so much for the next section. Look, I've got pages and pages and pages of like just story after story after story that I've got of this game, but to be honest guys, like, this video is becoming something that I didn't want to do, which is like a long 20+ minute video, 20-30 minute video. I just wanted to keep it at like somewhere around 15 minutes. So I am just gonna I'm just gonna stop it here, or somewhere around here. Final thoughts. I guess this game was important. It's still a fun game, even with everything I don't like about it. It's an extremely fun game, and the best part about it is you don't have to be good at it for it to be fun, and you don't have to be good at it to unlock everyone either. So the way you actually unlock everyone is there's I'm just going to go through this one feature in the game. The way you unlock everyone is through a store called like the Secret Factor or something like that. And the way you get money for that store is just by playing the game. You can play the game in training mode, you can play the game in versus mode, you can play the game in arcade mode. Just everything you do in this game, just by spending time playing it, gives you more currency for this Secret Factor store, which lets you unlock, it lets you unlock characters, and it lets you unlock all their colors, which is awesome because as soon as you get all their colors, you can choose them multiple times. So you can have a team of 3 Cyclopses, or a team of 3 Cables, or 3 Akumas, or whatever, which was nuts. Like, but this game is also the reason why everyone got pissed off at Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Vanilla, and why everyone was kind of pissed off at Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Let's be real. Just going back to the secret factor thing. Anyway, confession time. I've actually never beaten the final boss in this game. I've always gotten to the final boss or around the final boss and then just phoned it in because one, losses affect your arcade score. I never wanted to affect my arcade score. I always only wanted to do a perfect run. So because of that, I never actually defeated the boss. And yeah, because even in that way, I still unlocked every character, every color, every piece of artwork. Yeah, and I had a butt crap of fun, just fun. Like, this game, like, because it's so broken and so jank, like, you can do things like get a newbie to button mash with certain characters, and they'll do stuff that you might have never seen before, because, yeah, that's just the way the game's been made. And, you know, I'm gonna have to call Bethesda on this, because I don't know if this is like a bug or a feature with some of the stuff that I've seen in this game, but either way, it's hilarious. And you just have a good time, and like, you know, sure enough, if you're fighting with your friends, like, you might get salty if you're on a losing streak, but like, it still won't stop you from putting this game in again. And I feel that that's the magic that this game brings. Like, all the other games, you won't put it in because there's a high chance that it doesn't have the characters that you play as. This game, although it doesn't have the control scheme that I like, it has all the characters that I like to play as, and it has all the characters that my friends like to play as. And just having that roster, which is, I'm gonna say the roster is the main draw to the fighting game, especially like these games, what they were up until Infinite pretty much was an event, a celebration, like Smash Brothers, Ultimate. Smash Brothers Ultimate has been, you know, Sakurai has said multiple times, yeah, this is a celebration of gaming history. Yeah, like, these games are all like celebrations of the two universes coming together. And then Infinite happened. But nah, we all like to crack on Infinite. That's a good game, by the way. I'm gonna do a late to the party on Infinite, so keep an eye on that. But I'm gonna get into some other genres before I get back into trying to talk about and review about fighting games, where I've got pages and pages of just notes and recording footage, and oh man, so much that you can get into. Like, I'm not even gonna, you know what, no. If you guys want to talk more about this, hit me up on Twitter. You can also find me on Instagram and TikTok, where I've got one video. And who knows, if I get followers on that, maybe I'll post another one. Alright, have a great night, guys, wherever you are in the world. Be blessed, stay safe, wash your hands, and what's this new thing that's gone on in the States? Don't drink bleach. Why would you drink bleach? Alright, that comes to the end of the video. Thank you for sticking around this long. Special thanks to Mewmore for allowing us to use his music, and I'll put a link in the channel below. Also, special thanks to RGT85. He gave me some key advice while I was making this that just helped me stay focused, so thanks, man. I'll also drop that link down in the channel. So yeah, if you like the video, like it. If you want to subscribe to see what's coming up next, go right ahead and do that. And yeah, take care, guys.